Hey guys, Mr. O here. I'm going to go over week two's map. It is called Parallels and Meridians. And if you remember back to week one, I know that because I looked at my title. Again, very first thing you should always do when you look at a map is figure out what it's telling you, and the title is a great place to start. Now, this particular map is a little bit different in that it doesn't have all 5 of the items that we learned about, or the 5 parts, or the 5 elements. It does have a title, but you can see there's not really a legend, there's not a scale, and that's okay. Not every map is exactly the same, and that's part of the point of doing these, to expose you to different maps. So, parallels and meridians, also known as lines of latitude or lines of longitude. So I've got parallels or lines of latitude here, meridians or lines of longitude there. So it's broken down into 2 different parts. And so I need to know if I've got a question about latitude, I am using this particular picture of the globe. If I'm doing longitude, I am switching over to this particular part of the map. And so that's important. So again, I look at the title and then I kind of look around to see what it's showing me. Monday's question number 1 says, which imaginary line divides the Earth into south and north latitudes? Now, this week, I'm not going to give you the answers, but I am going to support you. So if we're talking about up here being north and down there being south, there is a line of latitude. This one actually has a name too. A number or a name is okay for this. There is a line of latitude that separates it into 2 halves, the north and the south. What is that line of latitude? And in fact, I would prefer if you wanted to give me the name, that's fine, but also give me the number. Because as you can see over here, we do have numbers that are associated with our lines of latitude. So which number splits it in half? The location is the second part. It said what imaginary line and what is its location. So make sure that you have both answers for that one. Let's do the next one, number 2. Which imaginary line divides the Earth into east and west longitudes? So here is west on this side. Remember, we've switched over to this map because we're dealing with lines of longitude. And when I say switched maps, I'm really just talking about switching to the globe. So I switched to the one on the right. This is the west side. This is the east side. So there's an imaginary line that breaks this in this half and that half. And the question really is, what is that imaginary line? This is similar to question number 1, in which if you can give me the number and also the name, that would be fantastic. Tuesday is asking about another name for lines of latitude, and we've already talked about at the beginning. There's parallels or lines of latitude. It tells me right here that the or means they mean the same thing. So if I say parallels, I mean the same as latitude. So my answer for that is going to be right there in that heading. There's a second part for number 1 on Tuesday. Don't forget that. Do these lines run in north-south or east-west? Well, they are running from starting here to over there. So is this east to west? All of these are running from this way. Is it east to west, or is it north to south? Just on my clicking, that should be able to kind of support you whether or not that's east or west. You need to know your cardinal directions in order to answer this. And so if you don't know your cardinal directions, go back to week 1's map. I'm not going to give you the answer here, but you should be able to figure out based on the clues that I gave. On Tuesday, number 2, 3 facts about meridians. Well, there is a little bit of text right here, so I can get 1 or 2 based on just the information on meridians. And then if I know how to use meridians, I can give a couple other pieces of information about meridians or lines of longitude. So if you think a little bit, Tuesday, number 2 should be okay. For Wednesday, number 1, it says, write this line of latitude in words. And it's written as 15 and then a little symbol for degrees north. For the first part, I want you to write out the word 15 as a word. not as a number. So write out the word 15, then the little degree, spell out the word degree, D-E-G-R-E-E-S, D-E-G-R-E-E-S for degrees. And then N stands for north, because we know it's north of the equator, and that's important. So that you can see that there's a 15 here and that there's a 15 there. One has an N and one has an S. So unless you tell me if it's N for north or S for south, I don't know. So you would actually write out the word north as well. So we have the word 15 written out, the word degrees written out, the word north written out. Now, 15 degrees north is this one right here. So I just follow this line across, and it's asking me for a continent that is on 15 degrees north latitude. So I'm not going to give you the answer. You can use another book. You can use your phone. But there's several options for which continents. You need to know your 7 continents. And by the way, that's something that you should know coming into 6th grade social studies. For Wednesday number 2, it's almost exactly the same. Write this line of longitude in words, 15 degrees east. So I write the word 15, I write the word degrees, and I write out the word east. Also, I need a continent, so I come over to this map. Is it this one? Nope, because that's a west. Is it this one, 15 east? Yeah, yes, it's E for east. And so I just follow this up and along, and I've got a couple options there for which continent is on that meridian for Wednesday number 2. For Thursday, lines of latitude are also called parallels. Now, they're parallels because they don't ever touch. They stay the same distance apart. So if I look at 30 degrees north and 15 degrees north, they're the same distance right here. They're the same distance apart as they are over there. So right here, they're the same distance as they are from right there. They never touch. They always stay equal distance apart. That's why they're parallels. So that's a good answer for Thursday number 1. Lines of longitude for number 2 on Thursday are not parallel, and it's kind of hard to see from this map, but you can see at the North Pole, and you can't really see at the South Pole, but you should know this, that they all come and meet together. So all lines of longitude meet at the North Pole and the South Pole, and so the distance from, say, right here to right there is not the same distance as from right there to right there. So that's why they're not parallel, because they're not equal distance apart throughout. Friday number 1, between which 2 parallels and which 2 meridians is the tip of Africa located? So let's look at the tip of Africa, and we're talking about the southern tip. So if here's the southern tip right there, then I've got this line of latitude and that line of latitude that it is between, because I can see it here. So it's between this line and that line. Make sure you give me the correct numbers. Make sure you write out whether or not it's north and south. It also asked for the 2 meridians. So here's the tip again of of Africa, and I've got one line and one line, and it's in between those 2 because here's my location. So what are those 2 lines? So I don't give you the exact answer, but I do help you to kind of pinpoint the location that we're talking about, which is the tip of Africa. For Friday number 2, are 15 degrees north latitude and 75 degrees east longitude locations in the continent of Asia or Europe? So if we find 15 degrees north latitude, it's over here, right? But notice something, it asked me both for the latitude and the longitude, and I don't have a globe that shows me both. So I'm going to have to take my knowledge of where about 15 degrees north latitude is, and I'm going to need to bring it over here, and it should be around there. Now I'm looking for 75 east, so here's my 75 east way over here. And remember, my line of latitude was about here, so I'm really talking about in this area. And the question is that Asia or is that Europe? And hopefully you have an idea based on your previous knowledge of what continent that is. That should do it. Let me know if you've got questions below, and I'd be glad to ask, but I hope that supports you, and thanks for taking the time to watch this.